Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Thinking Talmudist series. We're coming to you live online from the Torch Center in Houston, Texas. I want to thank Ed, our chef, for taking care of such delicious lunch for everyone this afternoon. And we're going to learn two very important pieces of Talmud. Two very important. You're welcome to join us if you want to. No pressure. Or he's listening to something he doesn't even hear. Either way, so two very important pieces of Talmud. One is in the tractate of Sukkot, which is on 55b. Everyone has it here in your notes and the handouts. And then the other is in Avodah Zarah, and we'll see them all. Let's start from the first piece. Amar Rebbe Eliezer. Rebbe Eliezer says, Rebbe Eliezer, Hani Shivim Purim. To what do these 70 bulls correspond? Keneged mi. To what do they respond? The Gemara answers, Keneged Shivim Umos. Now, in the temple, on the holiday of Sukkot, we would bring 70 bull offerings. 70 bull offerings. That's a lot. Okay? So why did we have 70 bull offerings?
10 times 7.
70 nations.
Oh, well, you're looking forward. Good. The Gemara answers, Keneged Shivim Umos. They correspond to the 70 nations of the world. The Gemara continues, Pari Yechidi Lama. Why? And the single bull of Shmini Atzeres, why is it brought? The Gemara answers, Keneged Uma Yechida. It corresponds to a singular nation of Israel. To the singular nation. Mashal Melech Basar Adam. This can be compared to a king of flesh and blood, She'amar La'avadav, who said to his servants, Asuli Su'uda Gdolo, prepare for me a great banquet, Liyom Acharon. When it came to the end, to the final day of the banquet, Amar La'ohavo, he said to his beloved companion, Aseli Su'uda Ktana, prepare for me a small meal, Kidei She'eheneh Mimcha, so that I can enjoy your company. All right, so Hashem, right, we have the holiday of Sukkot, and then we have the one, and during this holiday of Sukkot, we bring 70 offerings. Why? One for each nation. Rashi says something interesting here. We'll see the commentary in a minute. But then we have one offering that's brought on Shmini Atzeret, which is like we call it like the last day of Sukkot, but really it's a new holiday. What is this holiday about? It's the Talmud says, because God, imagine a king who has his beloved servants with him. He says, make me, the last day of the 7-day banquet, he says, I want a small little meal again, right? So before you go, I want to have one more day of party with you, okay? The Gemara comments, Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, O lahem la'ovdei kochavim, woe to the idolaters, she'ibdu ve'ein yodeh ma she'ibdu, who have lost something precious and do not even know what they have lost. Bizman shebeis hamikdash kayim mizbeach mechaper alehem. For as long as the temple stood, the altar atoned for them. Ve'achshav, but now that it is gone, now that the temple is gone, mi bechaper alehem, who will atone for them? Who will atone for them? So the nations of the world don't know what they're missing by us not having a temple. By us not having a temple, they don't have atonement for their sins. Because we would bring the offerings for them. Right? What nation cares? It's an amazing thing. You look at Judaism, it's the only religion that cares about people who are not in their religion. Right? Yeah. Because you have Christians, if you don't believe in Christianity, right? They'd kill you, just like they've done to millions of Jews. They've slaughtered us. Why? Because we didn't believe in their faith. You have the Muslims. The Muslims, the same thing. If you don't believe in their faith, then you're an infidel, and you deserve to die. So those are the two main other nations. That's it. You have the Jewish people. What do? We bring offerings for them, so that they should have atonement for their sins. And now that our temple is gone, where's their atonement? Right? So it's a very, very interesting, very important piece of Talmud to know how the Jewish people are not the only nation. Just by the way, we don't ever kill anyone because they don't believe in Judaism. Ever. We never coerce people to convert. On the contrary, people try to convert. We say, go home. Get a psychiatrist. Dr. Rosenstock is cheaper, right? It's more affordable to go to Dr. Rosenstock than to become Jewish, right? Right, yeah. It's cheaper. Then you start keep kosher, kasha, your kitchen, everything, new dishes, new pots, new pans, new everything, right? Just get a psychiatrist and you're good to go. People come to Judaism, we tell them, no, that's not a good idea. No, I really want to. You really want to? Okay. The rules are pretty strong, pretty strict. You got to move into the neighborhood. You got to keep Shabbos. You got to believe in the full faith of the principles of our faith. There's a whole process. And even then, we try to push them away, saying, that's not a good idea. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, I really want to become Jewish. No, that's not a good idea. The nations of the world, they go, they proselytize, they go, they missionize, they go, they coerce people, they threaten people. We don't have any of that in Judaism. Yes, you want to come? You're welcome to come, but we're not going to encourage it.
So
right?
We're not like Jehovah's Witnesses.
No, we're not like any of those. Right?
Just tell them about circumcision and they'll be...
Yeah, exactly, that's right.
You sure of that?
There's a funny meme that's been going around. It's a kid with a big kippah, and he sees Elijah's cup, and you see like a bubble coming out of his mind. He says, "I better not drink this because I remember what happened the last time I drank up from Elijah's cup." Right? That's by his bris. Right?
Yeah.
So by the Seder, you're not sure you want to do that again, right? So either way. But we don't see an obligation in the nations of the world observing like we do. On the contrary, we have the 7 laws of Noach, and those 7 laws, if the nations of the world keep those 7 laws, they get heaven as well. And that's what we tell people when they come to convert. We tell them, "Why are you coming to convert? You can attain your place in heaven without converting. What do you need this for? What do you need all the commandments?" Okay, now we're going to talk about this in a minute because we're going to open up another piece of Talmud. But they offer atonement for the 70 nations of the world in order that rain might fall throughout the world, and it is on Sukkot that the world is judged regarding rainfall. So that's why, particularly in the holiday of Sukkot, we bring these offerings for all the nations of the world. It should be an atonement for them. They should have the rain because the rain is judged on Sukkot. Okay, that's why when we, at the end of the holiday of Sukkot, we're going to change the addition that we have in our prayer. We're going to change to Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hagashem. Okay? Which, to add to what we mentioned yesterday, we mentioned this previously. I'll just add it again. I'm going to add a little piece to it, to what we mentioned yesterday. So it's unfair that all the months of the year that have holidays have one holiday in it, right? Nisan has one holiday, right? Iyar has one holiday, Lag BaOmer. Right? Nisan has Pesach. Lag BaOmer is in Iyar. Sivan has Shavuot. Every holiday, every month has one holiday, except for the month of Tishrei. The month of Tishrei has 4 holidays: Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah. So I tried to give an explanation to it because Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. Rosh Hashanah is a day you realize, I've been recorded this whole time. God has been taking an accounting for everything I've done. I didn't realize this. Right now that I realize Hashem Hu Elokim, Hashem is our God, now I have to do something about this. So now, what's the next step? Atonement. I have to, Hashem saw this, Hashem saw that. I better seek atonement. I better ask for forgiveness for all of my sins. What goes next? We're going to show that we're different. What brought us into sin? Habit, materialism, right? Our homes, our luxury. That's usually what drives a person away from their focus and spirituality. So what do we do? What do we do? We go out of our homes to demonstrate that we're changing our ways. We're not going to continue a new year just like we did in the past. We're showing change. We're showing that we're reprioritizing. right? We're not going to be focused on getting lost in our materialistic world. We're not going to allow ourselves to get caught up in habit. We're going to change the way we live our lives. We're getting out of our habit. We get out of our homes, and for 7 days we're in the sukkah. And then when we go back into the sukkah, go back into the home, what do? We have Simchat Torah. We dance around the Torah. Why? We say we're no longer going to be dancing around our materialism. We're no longer going to be dancing around our luxuries, our comforts of our homes, but rather we're going to prioritize that Torah now takes the central role in our life, and we're going to be dancing around the Torah, reprioritizing our things. But it's a very interesting thing. We say when we go back into the home, we also coincidentally change the prayer, right, to from Morid Hatal, that God descends the dew, and we change it to Mashif Haruach, God brings the wind, Umarid Agashem, and descends the rain, because now it becomes the rainy season. It's very interesting. Our sages tell us that there's another way to read those words. Such a beautiful idea. Mashif Haruach. What is the word Ruach? Ruach means wind, but Ruach also means spirituality. Mashif Haruach, God brings about the spirituality. You know what happens when you bring about spirituality? Marid HaGashem. What's Gashem? Gashem is Gashmiyut. Gashmiyut is materialism. When you elevate yourself spiritually, your materialism drops also. It's the Ramchal tells us that these are opposing forces. When you elevate yourself spiritually, you lower yourself physically. When you elevate yourself physically, you lower yourself spiritually. We try, as an American invention, we try to say, you know what? We can also live a good life and also be spiritual. We can do them both, right? We can be the Joel Osteen, live in a $22 million home and give nice lectures, right? We try to do both, right? We try to do both. It doesn't work. Something is going to give. Something has to give. You can't live a fully spiritual life and live a fully embedded physical life. One has to give. When we mashiv haruach, when we elevate ourselves spiritually, what happens automatically? Morit hagashem. The physicality, the materialism, all descends. It goes down. And that's particularly when we go back into our home. We're saying we want to elevate ourselves spiritually. We want to be mashiv haruach. We have to be morid hagashem. I think it's a great addition to what we mentioned earlier. So this is what the Talmud says. Regarding the thoughtfulness of the Jewish people for the nations of the world. And we have the next part now, which we're going to connect to this, which is so amazing and so important, right? Very fundamental piece of Talmud. Yes?
So if a person drives a beautiful car and lives in a beautiful home, you can't be Shomer at the same time?
No, you could. Of course you could.
But then you're saying you can't go after both of them at the same time.
You can't live a fully immersed spiritual life and live a fully immersed physical life. They don't go together.
Immerse means chasing after materialism?
Yes,
Is that what you're trying
yes,
to say here?
yes.
Okay.
Right? You know what? If you're so into cars that, I remember I had a friend of mine, we were once on the bus, a school bus, right? This is going back 30 years. And he saw a Porsche 911, and he literally jumped across the bus to look at it, jumped across the entire bus inside, right, from one window to the other window to see right. If you're so immersed in the physical world, something's got to give in the spiritual world. You can't be fully present in two worlds, right? Of course, a person has to live a life. A person has to have clothes. A person has to have a car, whatever they need. In Houston, you need to have a car, right? It's impossible to survive here without one, right? Okay, that doesn't mean you need a Bentley,
No.
right? Okay, you need to get from place to place. We're not talking about not to have the things you need. We're talking about not to have things that you don't need, that are just an excess, just a luxury, right? Now, even luxury is a great thing. It can help a person have a certain type of menuchas nefesh, a certain type of, equanimity, peace of mind, right? which is arguable whether or not it brings more peace of mind. People sometimes have more troubles because they have fancier things, because they're always worried. We can't have guests in the house because they're going to ruin the carpets. We can't have guests in the house because they're going to scratch the... it's like, you see, you limit yourself sometimes because of these things. Okay, let's see the next piece of Talmud. So I just want to make sure. I don't want to jump over this. There has to be balance. There has to be balance. But you can't be overly immersed in one specific area and expect the other area not to be affected.
It's really where you focus. That's what it is.
That's correct. You can't focus on two things. We have tried forever to be multitaskers. At the end of the day, you can't.
Right.
You cannot multitask.
Right.
You're either doing one thing or you're doing the other thing poorly.
It makes sense.
True, doctor? Okay. The Gemara we're going to learn now is the second part of page 1. It's the bottom here. It's the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, page 3b. And the Talmud says like this. One second. I have it in a different setup here. Okay, we'll do it straight from here. The Gemara returned to the discussion between God and the nations of the world, whose claims are rejected with the rebuttal that they did not receive the Torah because they did not fulfill the 7 Noachide mitzvos that were incumbent upon them. Okay, so now they're saying like this. Ella, rather, Kach omrim ha'ovdei kochavim. This is what the Gentiles say before Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, before the Holy One, blessed is He. Ribono Shalola, Master of the Universe. Yisrael shekiblu hechon kimuha. Master of the Universe, asked for the Jewish people who accepted the Torah, where is the evidence that they actually fulfilled the commandments? Where is evidence that they fulfilled the commandments? Amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Almighty One, the Holy One, blessed is He. Yes.
Fulfilled its mitzvot. The Torah's mitzvot or the...
The Torah's mitzvot. The Torah's mitzvot. All right.
So they're saying we didn't fulfill the 7 Noahide laws. Where's the evidence they fulfilled the 613 mitzvot?
Right. They're saying, prove to us, they're telling God, prove to us that the Jewish people observed the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. So the Almighty says, Amalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed is He, said to them in response, Ani beid bohem, I will testify about the Jewish people, shekimu Torah kula, that they fulfilled the Torah in its entirety. Omrim lefanav l'Ribono shel olam, Almighty God, Master of the universe, right? Klum yesh av shemeid al bno, dichsiv, b'ni b'chori Yisrael, right? Is there a father who can testify about a son? We know that a father cannot testify about a son, right? They're family. Families you can't testify. Not a father and a son, not a brother, right? Not a relative. You can't be a witness for anything having to do with your family because you're prejudiced, right? You're a wedding. You have a wedding, right? The bride and groom need to have witnesses that witness this marriage, right? They can't be family members. They have to be total strangers, not to one another, and not to the bride and groom. Right? They can't be family members. So we see a father can't give testimony on his son, and as it is written, Israel is my son, my firstborn. Right? So we see that we're Hashem's son, children. Right? Since God is considered the father of the Jewish people, He is disqualified from testifying on their behalf. right? Amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shamayim va'aretz yi'idu bahem shekimu es haTorah kula. The Holy One, blessed be He, said to them, heaven and earth will testify about them that they fulfilled the Torah in its entirety. Omrim lefanav Ribono shel olam, Shamayim va'aretz nogin be'eduson. The nations say before God, in this matter, the testimony of heaven and earth is tainted by a conflict of interest, as it is stated, Shenemar im lo barisi yomam v'layla chukos shamayim v'aretz lo samti. If my covenant, says in Jeremiah, it says, if my covenant be not with day and night, I would not have appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth. Meaning that the Torah and heaven and earth are very closely linked. So again, it's like it's family. They can't be witnesses. And concerning the verses, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish said, what is the meaning of that which is written? And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day, in Genesis, when it says that. This teaches that the Holy One, blessed be He, established a condition with the acts of creation and said, if the Jewish people accept my Torah at the revelation of Sinai, all is well. But if they do not accept it, I will return you to the primordial state of chaos and disorder. So what do you expect them to say now? You expect them to say the Jewish people didn't observe it? They don't want to go back to a state of chaos. They don't want to go back to a state of craziness. So it has to be that they're going to say positive things about the Jewish people. So the nations of the world are coming with really good, right? So the Amr Shlakish, Reb Shimon ben Lakish, Mai dichsi v'hi'er v'yivaki yom hashishi, melamed shehit na'kadosh baruch hu ma'aseh bereshis v'amar im Yisrael mekablin es torasi mutav v'im lav ani achzeros eschem lesohu v'vo. Okay, so we see that we have these great arguments here. 1 second here. Was actually okay, so it's actually Avodah Zarah 3a on the bottom. I apologize, okay? Okay. The Gemara continues. The nations say before Hashem again. Omrim lefanav Ribono shel olam shamayim v'aretz nogin be'eduson. Oh, sorry, we just did that. Okay. V'hainu the Amar Chizkiah. And this is what? My dichtiv. What does it says? Mishamayim hishmata din oretz. Yireh v'shaketo im yireh. Let me see where it is. I'm going to bring it actually from the verse here. Mishamayim hishmata din eretz yareh v'shakta. That's a verse in Psalms. Right? So we have here, the Talmud continues and says, what is the meaning of that which is written? You cause sentence to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was silent. If earth feared, why was it silent? And if it was silent, why did it fear? One who is afraid does not stay silent, and one who remains silent thereby demonstrates that he's not afraid. Rather, this is the meaning of the verse. At first, when God came to give the Torah to the Jewish people, the earth feared that they might not accept it, and it would be destroyed. This is alluded to by the verse, by the phrase, you cause sentence to be heard. But ultimately, when the Jews accepted the Torah, the earth was silent. Consequently, heaven and earth are interested parties and cannot testify about the Jewish people's commitment to the Torah. Okay? So they're disqualified also. So God is disqualified because He's our Father, and a father can give testimony over a son. And heaven and earth are not worthy witnesses because they're also they have their own personal interest here. Amar lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Holy One, blessed is He, therefore tells the nations, Mikem yavo, from among you yourselves witnesses will come. V'ya'idu bahen b'Yisrael shekiyimus haTorah kula, and testify about the Jews that they have indeed observed the entire Torah. Yavo Nimrod v'Yored ba'Avram. Let Nimrod come and testify about the patriarch Abraham. Shelo avad avodas kachavim, that he did not worship idolatry. Yavo Lavan v'Yored b'Yakov. Let Laban come and testify about the patriarch Yaakov. Shelo nechshad al gezel, that he was not suspect on theft. Tavo eshes Potifera v'Toyed b'Yosef. Let the wife of Potifera come and testify about Joseph. Shelo nechshav al avera, that he was not to be suspected of committing sin, adultery. Let Nebuchadnezzar come and testify about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, that they did not bow down to the cross, to the image. Yavo Dar Yarvesh, v'Yoed b'Daniel. Let Daryavesh, Darius, come and testify about Daniel, Shaloi Bitel es hatfilo, that he did not cease the prayer. Yavoi Bildad Hashuchi v'Tzofar Anamasi v'Alifas Atemani v'Elio ben Baruch El Abuzi. Let Bilad the Shuchite, Zophar the Naamite, Eliphaz the Temanite, and Eliyahu the son of Brachel and Buzite. Let them come, and let them testify about the Jews, that they observed the entire Torah. Shenemar yitnu eidehem v'yitzdaku, as it states, let them bring their witnesses, and they will be vindicated. Boom. So who's going to give testimony that the Jewish people indeed observed the Torah? The nations of the world themselves. The nations of the world, they're the ones who are going to give this testimony about the Jewish people. Wait, it's not over. Why are we bringing this here? Mm-hmm. Right? Seems a little incoherent in a Talmud study about Sukkah that we start bringing this. What does this have to do with Sukkah, right? Check this out. The nations still refuse to capitulate. Amru Lefanav, the nations will then say, Ribono Shalola, Master of the universe. Tineh lanu mirosh v'naseno. Give the Torah to us anew, and we will observe its precepts. Give it to us. Give us the Torah, and we'll do it. So heaven responds as follows. Amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed is He, says to them, Shotim sheba'olam, fools of the world. Mi shetorach be'erev Shabbos yochel b'Shabbos. Whoever toiled on the eve of Shabbos, on Friday, will eat on the Shabbos itself. Mi shelo torach be'erev Shabbos, mehechon yochel b'Shabbos. But whoever did not toil on the eve of Shabbos, mehechon yochel b'Shabbos. From where will he eat on the Shabbos? Because on Shabbos you can't cook. On Shabbos, you can't prepare all your foods, right? You can't do any of that. So if you didn't prepare it from before Shabbos, you're not going to have what to eat on Shabbos. It's like, you go on a cruise, right? Before you go on a cruise, you pack your bags, you prepare whatever extra food you want to have with you on the cruise, your clothes, everything that you need. And you put it in your car, you drive out to Galveston, you get on that cruise, and as the cruise is moving away from the port, you're like, hey, Gewalt, I left the bag in my car, right? Well, what's going to happen now? It's too late. You didn't bring it on. It's over, right? That's what Shabbos is. Shabbos is that moment where the cruise ship sails, right? What you prepared before Shabbos, you have. What you didn't prepare, you don't have. If you don't prepare food, you don't have food. What can you do? You're not going to have food. And this is, by the way, an unbelievable lesson. Our sages tell us that this is not only referring to Friday and Shabbos, it's also referring, every single week we have a reminder of the day of death. Because our Friday is today, this life that we're living. Because one day will come a Shabbos where we're no longer living. And what we don't prepare for that time of judgment, we're not going to have for us. If we don't do the mitzvahs here, we're not going to have it later. If we don't do the Torah study here, we're not going to have it then. If we don't do the wonderful deeds that we could do, the opportunities that come our way in this lifetime, we're not going to have it once Shabbos, the end of life, comes. Every single week we have that reminder again and again and again and again. That when we prepare for Shabbos, what we're doing, we're saying, you know what? This whole life is a preparation for a eternal Shabbos, which is when we leave this world, when we depart. Huh? Good stuff, the Talmud says here, right?
So
Yeah, we'll get there in 1 second. What's that?
is God saying it's too late for you to accept the Torah?
We'll see in a second. I want to read a couple of the commentaries here. So the Gemara above, right, had understood that this verse is saying that the mitzvahs which Israel had performed in this world will come to testify on Israel's behalf. Some suggest that our Gemara here, which expounds on the verse as referring to the testimony of the idolaters, really refers to the last words of the verse, and they will hear and see it is true, about which the Gemara above stated this is a reference to the idolaters. Okay, now, he says, since melacha, this is what we mentioned, melacha, specific forbidden labors, like cooking, is prohibited on the Shabbat, one must prepare on Friday the food he wishes to eat on Shabbos. Once Shabbos has arrived, it is too late to prepare food through cooking or baking. In the same vein, only one who labored to perform mitzvahs in this world will be rewarded in the world to come. Once the era of the world to come has arrived, it is too late to earn reward, which is what he's saying to the nations of the world. Now you wake up. Now you tell me you want the mitzvahs. I offered it to you back then, and you said no. Okay? So now the Talmud continues in the Ella. Afal Pikain. Right? All the same, I will accede to your request and test whether you really would have observed the Torah. Mitzvah kala yeshli. I have an easy mitzvah for you. And the name of this mitzvah, Sukkah Shema, and its name is Sukkah. Lechu ve'asu osa. Go and perform the mitzvah. Make a sukkah. Let's see. Hashem is inviting the nations of the world. He says, you know what? I know that we're in the world to come, and it's too late. The ship has sailed. But you know what? I'm going to give you an easy mitzvah. I'm going to give you an easy mitzvah. Go do this mitzvah, and then we'll see whether or not you would have performed it in retrospect in the world we live in today. Okay? The Gemara interrupts this teaching to ask, Umi matzis amris hachi? But how can you say this, that God gives the nations one more chance? Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, why Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, what is the meaning of that which is written? Asher anochi mitzavcha hayom la'asosam. You shall keep the commandments which I command you today to do them. Hayom la'asosam. Today, this world was made to do them, the commandments. V'lo l'mochar la'asosam. And not tomorrow in the world to come. Hayom la'asosam. Today was made to do them. V'lo hayom litol sachar. And not today was made for receiving their reward. Why then does God give the nations a second chance in the world, right? In the world to come? The Gemara answers, rather, God gives them this chance because the Holy One, blessed is He, does not seek excuses to deal harshly with His creations. God doesn't look for excuses. On the contrary, He seeks to provide them with ways to be successful. So you have to know this, okay? God wants us to succeed. We just finished Yom Kippur, right? Yom Kippur shouldn't be a day of fear. It should be a day of love. It should be a day where God says, you know something, I love you. I want you to succeed. Go, you can do it. You can do it. And we should say, yes, God believes in us. We should believe in ourselves. Right? The Gemara asks, "Ve'amai kari le mitzvah kala?" Why does God refer to sukkah as an easy mitzvah? The Gemara answers, "Mishum deleis b'chisron kis." It is referred to as such because its performance does not involve a significant monetary cost. It's not so expensive. It's not such a big deal financially to build a sukkah. So we return to the teaching. And the Talmud says as follows. Miyad kol echad ve'echad notel v'holech ve'oseh sukkah b'rosh gago. Immediately, each one of the nations takes the opportunity and goes to construct a sukkah on the roof of the house. Ve'akadosh baruch hu makdir aleim chama b'tkufas tammuz. The Holy One, blessed is He, then pierces them with the heat of the blazing sun in the Tammuz season. When is the Tammuz season? It's July, August.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. It's July and August, right? V'chol echad ve'echad mivayit b'sukkaso v'yotze. Whereupon each and every one of the nation kicks his sukkah and leaves it. Shenemar nenatka es mosor seimo v'nashlicha mimeno avoisemo. As it is stated, let us cut their cord and cast off their ropes. Boom. The nations of the world have this opportunity. But there's a slight discomfort. Oh man, kick it on the way out. Right? This silly mitzvah that we have, right? The Gemara asks, Makdir, why does God really pierce them with the sun's heat? But did you not say just a few minutes ago that the Almighty does not seek excuses to deal harshly with His creations? So what do you have to pull out the sun in the heat of July, right? To chase them out of the sukkah so they should kick the sukkah. Come on. Mishum the Gemara answers, Mishum di Yisrael nami zimne. Making the blazing sun beat down upon the nations was a fair trial of the nation's dedication. For the Jews also have to face this trial in some years as at times. Meaning, the Jewish people, you're kidding, look, we have a cold front coming in now, right? It's going to be chilly, possibly, right? When we're in the sukkah. I know people, I was in Sukkot in Ukraine. It's back in 1997, 22 years ago. It was about 40 degrees below zero. All right? We had like a furnace in the sukkah. No one said, "Oh, it's freezing cold, I'm out of here. Kick the sukkah. Right? I'm done with this," right? No. You know what? It's really cold. It really was cold. I mean, we were wrapped and bundled and everything. The soup couldn't be hot enough. It was so hot. It was great, right? It was delicious. It was amazing. No one kicked the sukkah on the way out. We have those challenges too. We're in Houston, Texas, typically in Sukkot. It's very hot. And we don't see Jews kicking the sukkah. So a friend of mine told me, he says, Houston is a very spoiled city. That's what people here are very complacent. He says, all of our sports arenas are closed roofs, right? They're all, you think of the NRG Stadium is a closed top. You think of the Astros Minute Maid, the basketball, they're all closed top. They're all right.
Except for the soccer stadium.
Except for the but nobody plays soccer anyway. So football, sorry, right? So I have to translate. Right? So because everything is comfortable. I can't be. You go to New York, go to Yankee Stadium, open top. What were they thinking, right? It's freezing cold. Right, you go to Shea Stadium, it's open top. You go to MetLife Stadium for the Giants and the Jets, and it's all open top stadiums. It's freezing cold there, right?
Well,
interesting.
You could go to Joe Robbie and it's blazing hot.
That's right, you sweat to death.
Miami.
California.
They don't have a closed stadium.
Oh, it's crazy.
So the Gemara says now. The Gemara continues, and the Gemara says, now we go to 3b. Here we go. So over here goes to 3b. Okay. So now the Talmud continues and it says, "Dimashcholahu tkufas Tammuz ad Chaga." It happens that the Tammuz season extends until the festival of Sukkot. V'havelahu tzara, and the Jews too experience discomfort when performing the mitzvah of Sukkot due to the heat of the sun. Yet they do not act as the nations did. The Gemara asks, "V'homa Rava," but Rava said, "Mitztayer partu min sukkah." One who experiences distress is exempt from the mitzvah of Sukkah. And we know that. When it rains, right? It rains. If God forbid it rains during the holiday of Sukkot, so what do? We can leave the Sukkah, right? Because you're mitzvah, you're in distress from the mitzvah of Sukkah, so you're allowed to leave. Certainly then, the Jews would also vacate the Sukkah should it become uncomfortably hot. Why then are the nations faulted for leaving the Sukkah under such conditions? Now, was anybody here thinking the same question I was thinking about the heat? Why did God have to turn up the heat? Anybody think about that? But the Talmud asks it. Now the Talmud's saying, we have another, means we can't play double standard. The Talmud doesn't play double standard, right? We're not going to say, hey, we could leave the Sukkah if it's too hot, but they can't. No, that's not the way it works, right? We all live by the same rules. Right? So how can it be if the Jewish people are uncomfortable in a sukkah and they're exempt, why the nations of the world held at a different standard?
Why is the sukkah in July?
It's the season. It's not saying July alone, but it's July, August, September, which is one season, and we have it anywhere in that range.
Generally in September, October, isn't it?
Well, some years, sometimes it's the beginning of September, but it's the summer months, that's the idea. It's the summer months. But the Jewish people, we see we've had 100 degrees Sukkot here with mosquitoes and everything, and no, we don't see people kicking the Sukkah like the nations of the world. So the Gemara answers, Nihi de patur. So granted that one is exempt from remaining in the Sukkah in such circumstances, but ba'ute mi mivate. But does one kick it as he exits it? Certainly not. Thus the nations are faulted not for their leaving the Sukkah, but for their attitude towards being exempted from this mitzvah.
Okay.
It's the attitude that they're... The Gemara continues the narrative and says, Miyad HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev u'Misachik Aleim. Immediately upon seeing their actions, the Holy One, blessed is He, sits and laughs about them. Shenemar Yoshev v'Shamayim Yischok, as it says, He who sits in the heavens He who sits in the heavens will laugh. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, regarding this verse, Rabbi Yitzchak says, Ein tzchok lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu ela osa hayom bilvad. There is never laughter in the presence of the Holy One, blessed is He, except for that one day alone. I have to understand what laughter means. Let's see some of the commentary. The commentary over here says, the concept of laughter in this context can be understood as follows. One feels the impulse to laugh when confronted by a sudden and unexpected change of perspective. In this world, God's guiding hand is concealed, and the events of history therefore sometimes appear haphazard and arbitrary. Ultimately, however, Hashem's grand design will be revealed, and we will see how the pieces of history's puzzle fit all together. At that time, we will suddenly realize that the superficial appearance of history was a mere charade, and we will laugh. This is the meaning of the verse in Psalms that we say in Shir HaMalot, Az Yimale Schok Pinu. Then, in the future times, our mouths will be filled with laughter, because we'll be like, that's why it happened. We have so many questions. Why the Jews? Why have we been persecuted? Why the Holocaust? And all great questions. It's great questions, and they're good questions, and they're valid questions. You know when we're going to get the answer for everything? When? Well, we'll be able to see the full picture, right? It's like, I remember there used to be on Fridays, there used to be a guy on television with big bushy hair who would paint. Remember that? I don't know his name, but he used to go and he used to, probably a Bob, right? But either way, so he'd have this like soothing voice. He'd like tell a story and here, so he'd like, and I have a little bush here, exactly. I have a little tree here. And we're gonna.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Bob Ross, was that his name?
What are you guys watching?
Well, I don't know. This is a kid, right? So either way, what were you gonna pass time with, right? Right. So for that one vacation day, I'd be able to go to my neighbor's house to watch television, So, and that's what I'd have, So, thank you so much. So we have, so he'd be painting this beautiful picture, and then suddenly he dips his brush into the black, and he puts this line right through it. And you're like, what? You had a beautiful garden going here. Why are you putting this black line? We don't see the full picture yet, right? He has this vision of this full picture. Now he's going to put over here, a whole street or a road or something. He's going to make it so beautiful, but we don't see that. We see, why did you throw this black paint in the middle of this beautiful canvas, right? But when you wait till the end, you see the full picture. You're like, wow, this is so beautiful. I didn't see that one coming. Right? The Jewish people right now, we see a little bushes, we see a little this, right? So suddenly we get a slap. We have no idea where this is coming from, but we have to wait till the end of the picture to see the full perspective.
So when is the end?
When God decides. The end is near. That I can tell you. The end is near. When it will come a time where we have peace in the world, when there'll be the revelation of Messiah. I mean, there's a lot of maybe we'll talk about it. One of the Talmuds will bring that up. We'll discuss what will happen at the end of time. But I think this is such an important piece of Talmud, particularly before we start observing the holiday of Sukkot, right? To feel the joy, to feel the love, to feel the awesomeness that we have this unbelievable mitzvah to sit in a sukkah. We have this unbelievable opportunity and privilege to really, move out of our homes, show our commitment, show our love, and not to kvetch about it, and not to be like, it's so uncomfortable, it's so hot, it's so sticky, it's so the sun, it's like we can kvetch. God forbid, we should never feel that the mitzvahs of the Torah are a strain on us. Rather, on the contrary, they should be a joy and a pleasure for us, right? Even when they're not so, not comfortable, but when it's not so, I don't even want to use the word convenient, because who cares if it's convenient? We're living in a world where everything needs to be convenient, right?
Yeah.
I have to have my latte with 2 pumps of cinnamon and 1 pump of chocolate and 1 pump. It's okay. Not everything needs to be our way, right? But here we have an opportunity to distinguish ourselves from the nations of the world. We really have an opportunity to distinguish ourselves. So I want to just invite everyone to my sukkah on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Right? We're going to have a special shake in the shack. Right? We're going to have all these different shakes, milkshakes and smoothies and all these different things. And of course a lulav. Right? Sorry, almost forgot that. And of course a lulav for us to shake. But this is very good. Thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot that one. But I look forward to seeing everyone. There is no cost for the event. I just want to see everyone in my sukkah. It's going to be at my house. It's a pretty big sukkah. I made a 16-foot by 30-foot sukkah. Wow. So it's a really big sukkah. So I'm looking forward to everyone joining. Get all your friends from the Woodlands. Bring them all in. Bring them all in. It's gonna be a nice event. Hopefully, my brother's pushing me. He says he wants me to pull out my rusty drum set and he'll get some other instruments. And maybe it might look if enough people come, maybe I'll do it.
We got some singers?
Actually, the answer to your question, AOC has already answered that in 12 years.
Oh yeah, that's right.
AOC has answered it. The earth is ending in 12 years.
To my dear friends out there, have a Shabbat Shalom and a beautiful Sukkot, and join us in my sukkah on Wednesday at 6 p.m. I look forward to seeing all y'all there. If you could register online, that would help us, just so we know how much food to prepare and so on and so forth. It's not going to be a whole sit-down dinner. Hopefully, we're not going to be able to fit everyone there, but it will be. There will be plenty of food. So, thank you and Shabbat Shalom.